Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Today we'll talk about a couple of important topics and based on what has transpired in the last couple of days. So first we'll look at the big beautiful bill that was passed just yesterday. And what does it specifically mean for employment-based immigration? We'll talk about a couple of important points. The second one I will talk about is we are going to take a look at some of the charts or inventory numbers that USCIS has released. And I will give you my speculation on what we will see in the employment-based immigration in EB2, EB3 and EB1 category impacting specifically India. The data is not that great, so let's dive into it. Then we'll talk about some of the risk factors that have been introduced with the passing of this bill, extreme vetting for people who lose their job on H1B or L1 and the option they will choose. And then there is a lot of chatter in the news about revocations of the green cards and denaturalization. So we'll touch on that as well. So a lot of important topics. If you are not a US citizen, you should pay attention to this video and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration and lifestyle related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Now check out the links in the description because those are affiliate links, and I would like to point out that there is a special discount going on with the Ultra Human Air Ring. With Amazon Prime Day coming, if you use the code Mandar10 or Amazon Mandar10, you will get 15% discount. This is more than the 10% discount that you normally get through my code. So check that out. I would like to remind you of my masterclass on EB1A. Now this is going to be information only. I have been doing these classes for more than a year now and it has got tremendous response. Now I'm not a consultant, so I'm not going to help you file, but I'm going to tell you exactly what to file so that you can go to a competent immigration lawyer and get your case filed. And also if you want to talk to me one-on-one for 30 minutes, you can check that link in the description as well. It is a Calendly link where you can book 30 minutes with me so that I can provide you my feedback on your situation, what I would do if I were you. This is based on my years of experience in Canadian immigration, US immigration, also from my talking to hundreds of people who are in your situation. So now with that said, let's jump into the first topic of today. Now this big beautiful bill, which is really a reconciliation financial bill, was passed yesterday. Actually, it was passed a couple of days before, but it was signed by the president on 4th of July. It is a signature bill that was passed less than 6 months into the administration. So it's a big deal. Now this reconciliation or financial bill, it has more to do with how they allocate money to several different branches and several different initiatives. Now it has nothing to do with immigration, but there are impacts to the immigration, especially the employment-based immigration. Now what this bill has done is, it has reduced taxes for tips, taxes for overtime, taxes for senior citizens. It has increased child credit, and there are a couple of other good things into it. But also in addition to that, they have allocated almost $170 billion to border and immigration. Now you would say $170 billion is a huge amount. Most of that amount, more than $50 billion is going to go to the border wall. But then there is significant amount of money that they have saved for things like detention centers for illegal migrants. And then there is another significant piece of chunk which is saved for hiring more border agents and ICE agents. Now you might ask, what does it mean for me as a non-immigrant who is in the employment-based section? Well, the first thing you are going to notice is extreme vetting. Just by mere adding number of personnels to enforcement agencies like ICE, they will have more manpower to look into the fraudulent cases. So extreme vetting is going to go through the roof. Now another thing you need to be mindful about is USCIS and Department of State who issue visas and green cards. They are kind of a service agencies of the department. But recently they have been also acting as enforcement agencies. So you can imagine that any petition that you put to the USCIS or Department of State, it will have a higher degree of scrutiny into your application. So things like delays in processing time, revocations, denials, request for evidences, NTAs, notice to appear, notice of intent to deny, notice of intent to revoke, all of these are going to skyrocket.
And that brings me to the sponsor of today's video. Have you ever done the Google search of your own name? Look what I have found when I did mine. Here's what comes up. While some of this information is relevant, the other makes me uncomfortable that my information is exposed for a sale like this. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, or anybody else who may want to target you. Your full name, email address, home address, your relatives' names, health information, it's all out there. That's why I have been using Aura, sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out request for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. Aura does so much more to protect my information and my family's information from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up, and best of all, I get everything for one affordable price. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like locking the front door but leaving your back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping me safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to my link which is on the screen and in the description and start your free 2 weeks trial. So protect your information, your family, and have a peace of mind. That's Aura.
Now, this is not a scare tactic. This is just to make you aware of what's coming and what may have already started. As a result of this beautiful bill, they have added almost 19,000 of enforcement agent, immigration enforcement agent. They're going to hire them over time. But as they do gradual hiring of these officers, you will come to see that these things will take effect. So that is one. Another thing is fee increases. Now, being in technology sector and being as employment-based immigration, these fee hikes are not going to bite you too much, but they still impact normal people. I'll make a special video on fee increases where I'll go into each category and how much is the increase. And another one is they have removed some benefits or social benefits from illegal migrants. That should not impact the legal immigration in any ways. But these are the overall things that you can expect from this big beautiful bill. Now again, this was not specifically directed towards immigration, although they have allocated $170 billion to the agencies that are enforcing the immigration laws. So put down in the comment section below if I have missed out any important factor from this big beautiful bill towards the immigration. Now the second topic of today is inventory data. Finally, USCIS has released a bunch of files which are Excel spreadsheets, essentially giving out numbers, how many people are pending in each category of visa, in employment based, also in the family based. But we are going to take a look at employment based. We are specifically going to look at what is the pending inventory for 485. That will give us an idea into how the dates are going to move in the near future. We'll also take a look at how many are pending in 140. There are other bunch of spreadsheets that I could go into, but that will make this video too long. So if you're interested in those other categories, let me know in the comment section below and I will try to make a special video on those. But today I'm only going to focus on 485 and I-140s. Now first let's look at this data which tells the EB1A inventory. So now this form I-485 application to register permanent residence or adjust status, pending applications for employment based preference category EB1, but we are specifically going to look at only EB1. So this inventory will tell you all the pending petitions or pending applicants for priority dates in the previous years, specifically from 2016 to 2025. And then prior to 2016, they have just clubbed them into one column. So let's look at them. And by the way, this data is only for India because India is the most backlog country in the employment based category. So let's look at this. So if you see here, as you can see here on the left hand side, you have a visa status which is available and awaiting availability. Now in the columns here, you will see January through December for that particular year on the x-axis, which is at the top. So you can cross-reference the year and the month to each column. And then priority date year 2022 and ahead is listed down in through column 17 to through 27. Now this is EB1. So current priority date in EB1 is February of 2022. So that's why our data goes up until 2022. So every year before 2015, there were about 1,000 people that have been able to apply for 485. Now in the year 2016 and onwards, I'm seeing an average of 500. So every year you have about 500 people pending adjustment of status in EB1A, in EB1 category India. Now remember, EB1 category includes EB1A, EB1B and EB1C. So all that pool is all together. I am pretty sure there are more number of EB1C petitions, which is international managers, than EB1A, but that distinction is not yet made. Now another thing that you can see here is if you look at all the pending people who have been able to apply for 485 in EB1 category from India is about 4,648, and whose dates are current is about 10,000. So if you take the total of all this, all the pending ones until 2022, year 2022, you can see it's about 15,530 pending petitions for EB1A. So 15,000. Now if you imagine how many people get from India of Indian origin get their green cards through EB1, typically they get 2,800 as a quota, but there is definitely some spillover, lateral spillover, and from family-based spillover that doubles the quota every year. I would say even more than double. I would say about 5,000 to 6,000 people from India get EB1A green card every year. That's my just rough estimate. So if I go by 5 to 6K, you can see that just to clear this backlog until end of 2022, it will take about 3 years to 2.5 years, maybe say. So say for instance, you get a spillover from family-based category and also lateral spillover, which definitely every year we get. I'm expecting this EB1 backlog to be cleared within 2 years. But let's look at how many are there just until February. Until February, there are only 4,648. So I would say this backlog will be cleared within a year until February 2022. So in order for them to clear the backlog to reach the current date, which has been February 2022 for a long time, it will still take them 1 year. But in reality, what would happen is in October visa bulletin, we'll still see a forward movement of 2 to 3 months for EB1 India. Now to clear the backlog, it might take another year before they can significantly move the dates forward. Now looking at the pending inventory for the rest of 2022, I am saying that this EB1 category for India is not going to be current for at least 3 years, 3 to 4 years. So that's my speculation. Now let's go into another chart. And now there is another tab which is specifically for EB2 and EB3. So if you look at this, if you look at employment preference category EB2, which is from line number 5 to line number 28. So let's highlight that for a minute. Now the most important part is looking at this priority date of year 2013. So how many are pending? Let's look at it. So if you look at EB2, there are about 11,000 petitions pending adjustment of status, 11,000 in just EB2 category for India. Now, how many did I say were available? 2,800 for each EB category, right? Just to get to December 2013, it will take 3 to 3.5 years. Now, let's look at how many are pending in 2014. Now, pending in 2014 are about 17,000, even more. So, just to get to December of 2014 for EB2 India, there are about 28,000 pending adjustment of status. Now we are talking EB2 India. The reality is going to be is that many of these people have their petitions pending in both EB2 and EB3. Most of them that I have talk to. And high number of people are now considering applications in EB1A, EB1C and EB5. So there are going to be people who are going to be dropping out of EB2Q. So I don't think that this is going to take that long. Many of these people I know for sure, they are applying in other avenues. So instead of taking 8 to 10 years to reach 2014, end of 2014, I would say it will still be taking 2 to 3 years at the most. Maybe my guesstimation was about 2 years, but it might take 3 years for people to reach end of 2014. So that is my speculation. So wait until October visa bulletin. I would still think that the EB2 priority date will move forward by 6 to 8 months because they want to generate that demand and use up these visa numbers, even if they don't get any spillovers. And we'll see how many people drop off of the race in EB2 by getting their visa from some other ways. Now, if you look at the EB3 category for India, it's not any different story. The numbers are way lesser for prior years. But if you look at the pending, it's 4,000 for 2023 and about 10,000 for 2024. So high number, but I am saying that there are a lot of duplicate applicants from EB2 and EB3. They have pending petitions in both, and many of them are also jumping queue to EB1 or EB5. Let's wait and see in October visa bulletin. But if my theory proves correct, for 6 to 8 months progression, because of these different factors of people dropping off, then it would be a good news. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about this data? Now let's quickly look at how many are pending I-140s this quarter. Now this is the chart that will tell you what is the pending inventory for I-40. So for India, for I-485 basically. Now if you look at the I-485, the total pending applicants is 180,000. So these are the people who are actually approved of I-140 petitions. And then 140s pending are about 150,000, 140s pending. Now this is not just for India, but for overall. But that will give you an idea of how many people are approved, because it tells that almost 57,000 140s are approved every quarter. And then the total number of people waiting to get their date current to apply for 485 who are I-140 approved is about 150,000. So put that all together, there is huge backlog, and with the current immigration scenario, it's not going to improve. So if your date is anything beyond 2015 or 2016, I would say forget about getting through EB2 or EB3. You have to jump to EB1 one way or the other. And if you have the means for EB5, do EB5 or look at alternate methods. Your job has to be super reliable. If you are an H1 and if you have a date which is beyond 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, nobody can tell you how many years it's going to take unless you jump queue to EB1A or EB5. Now I'm going to talk about the job losses, especially for people on H1B or L1. Now there are a lot of layoffs happening, especially Microsoft who is doing the layoffs, Intel is doing the layoffs, and there are many other tech companies that are doing silent layoffs. They don't announce the layoffs because they don't have to under certain threshold. So many of the big companies, what they do is they silently do the PIPs and other kind of layoffs throughout the year so that they don't have to do one big bang layoffs. But they are happening. Market is not that great in terms of job search right now. Where I'm going with this one is, if you find yourself in a situation where your H1B is no longer valid because you lost your job and 60 days have passed, you need to get into a different kind of a visa. Say you should transfer from H1 to B1. Now this is the quickest way. USCIS themselves had suggested this route to go from H1 to B1. You do the change of status from H1 to B1 to buy you some time to find your next job, because before you get a next job and before you can start, you can go back to H1 and reinstate your H1. But this is a tricky situation, especially in the climate currently that we are in terms of immigration. Going to B1 is going to buy you some time, but there is no guarantee of approval of B1. So once if you apply for change of status and if you don't get that B1, or if you get the B1 denied, it will be a big hassle because you will fall out of status immediately. Remember, B1 is a visitor visa. The intent of the visitor visa is non-immigrant intent. Now, if you have a 140 pending petition or even approved petition, you would have dual intent, and it goes against the basic fundamentals of B1, B2 visa. So there could be a challenge in getting your B1, B2 if you can find a job on H1, that would be the best advice. That would be the best situation so that you can quickly flip on to the next H1 and continue your path. Now, NOIDs and NTAs for H1Bs are also becoming more common. I had 2 people call me last week about their NOID just on H1B extensions. The reason was because in the past they had some unauthorized staying beyond their I-94. So your I-94 date is extremely important when you are on a visa. So keep that in mind. I-94 supersedes everything. Now there is a lot of scare in terms of a green card revocation. Now when does green card revocation happen? If it only happens if you were given green card by error or if you fraudulently obtained a green card, which means that you misrepresented your facts or you concealed your facts at the time of your green card application. If that has happened, then you have a chance of getting your green card revoked. Or if your priority date was not current, and this has been routinely happening in the last several years, where the priority dates had moved forward significantly, people applied, and then there was a lot of push to get out the green cards during the Biden administration to use up the visa numbers, and because of that there were green cards given out to people whose priority date was not current. Those green cards are being revoked. Not all of them, but many of them. And then there is a lot of chatter about denaturalization. Now denaturalization is an extremely difficult scenario. There are only handful of cases of denaturalization that happen every several years. So they are very far and few between, but they do happen. But they do happen for a very specific reason. If you were associated with a terrorist organization, or if you did something that was not in the national interest, or if there was a treason, or if there was a fundamental concealing of a matter that you have been associated with some organization, and if you had concealed that in order to obtain your green card and citizenship, then those may be the grounds for denaturalization. Now there are some automatic denaturalizations that would happen, but those are very, very extreme cases. So you don't need to worry about those, because few people have reached out to me who have become US citizens by naturalization, and now they are worried if they would. So see, all these things, travel, visa approvals, green card approvals, green card naturalization or denaturalization, these will only impact you if you have a significant problem in your immigration history or your background check. People call me on a regular basis. You would be surprised how many people are, even from the employment based situation, have trouble with the law, run-ins with the law, and they have some problem in their background check and they are worried. So if you have something like that, and if you want my opinion, you can contact me. Put down in the comment section below what did you think about the topic today. If there were any more questions that I should have covered, and I will do that in my next video. Also to remind you that my next EB1A masterclass is happening next Sunday on 13th of July at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you haven't already registered for that, hit the link in the description and register for that masterclass. And I will be announcing the winner of my giveaway in my Instagram handle, and I will put that in the description within a couple of hours. So all the best, and see you in the next one.